Good morning, my uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete subscribers. It is February 4th, 2021, Thursday. On my way to work, and I believe I'm going to be on time if I drive on the freeway at about 70, 75 miles per hour. Today is a little colder, so I'm bundled up again. But today's different because I wasn't able to watch Naruto, and I'm upset. But I was able to go to my cousin Mike's house last night and watch all of Bridgerton Netflix special. It's actually based off of Julia Quinn's books, the Bridgerton series. And it revolves around the Bridgerton family. So today I'm going to talk about Bridgerton. So, I was hearing this hype from my cousin Yvette and my cousin Mike. They're like, you haven't watched Bridgerton yet on Netflix? And I'm like, no, I'm all into Naruto. And they're like, I am so surprised because you're going to like it. You like Pride and Prejudice, and that's my favorite movie from back in that time, in that era. And Pride and Prejudice was, Mr. Darcy and Lizzie, and they fall in love. And Mr. Darcy's iconic line that every girl loves, and I do too, is, you have bewitched me, body and soul. Dude, that line alone just takes me away. I love that line. I'm waiting for Mr. Whoever, who I've been waiting for forever, to, say something like that. Like he's really going to do it, but I'm just saying. So anyways, I love that era back in the day. And one of my first historical romance books I read was by Julia Quinn. And I'm so upset right now because I can't remember the title of the book. But anyways, so I'm watching Bridgerton, and I'm like, oh, let me get in. Like, there's 8 episodes because this is the first season. And I'm like, oh, let me just watch an episode or 2, and then I'll go home. So I'm at Mike's house, and I'm watching it, and I watched the first episode, and I was taken in. It's back in the era, in the London time, back in the, 1800s or so. And so what they did was they took the era from back in the day and kind of modernized it a little bit. No, a lot. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of scenes where, if your audience is 12 and under, I would not recommend it. They'd be like, boom. I wouldn't let my nephews watch it. But I wanted to watch just a few, maybe 2, 3 episodes. I ended up watching all 8. So I'm leaving my cousin's house at 2 a.m. I get home. I'm like, wow. So when I was watching the first one, it drew me in. And then I had to watch the second one and the third one. So I watched all 8 last night. So Bridgerton to me was really good. And it reflected a lot on the books. I think I read a few of the books. I'm pretty sure I did. Because I could pretty much tell what was going to happen in the next episode that came up. So the characters that I liked in Bridgerton is Simon, who is the Duke of Hastings. And he's an African-American black guy. And have you back in the day, it was all white. It was a white world, and they held all the titles. But in Bridgerton, they had a very mixed cultural cast. I thought that was great. There were a lot of interracial couples. The queen she looked like she was half black, half white. And there was Lady Dansbury, and she was black. And, it didn't really matter to me, but I liked it because it was open to different races and not just the predominant Caucasian race, the white people. So, Simon is the Duke of Hastings, and he ends up falling in love with his one of his best friends, the Bridgerton sister. So it started off as a joke, she was trying to get married, because that's the big deal back then. You want to get married, you come out, it's your season. Everybody goes to the ball to check each other out. And she had a lot of gentlemen callers. She would have if her brother didn't scare everybody off, and if her brother didn't tell her, no, you can't have that one. No, he's a cheater. No, he's a liar. No, he's poor. Stuff like that. So she was presented to the queen like all the other young ladies who were supposed to come out. And the queen was like, you, my dear, are flawless. Like, who says that, right? So because the queen said that, and she's a beautiful girl, you know, everybody, all the other gentlemen, they're like, oh, we are going to go get her. And she, the next day after the ball or whatever, after her coming out, she did have a lot of gentlemen callers, but it decreased because her brother was like threatening everybody, like, no, you're not gonna, no, you can't date him, no. So then, she kind of got discouraged, and then the Duke of Hastings comes, and he's like, they put together a plan, him, and I think her name is Jane. I forgot her name. And they put together a plan, and they're like, well, I'm trying to find a match, and you're trying to get away from all these mothers and their daughters, so let's strike up a plan. So they strike up a plan to pretend like they're dating, and, they eventually become friends, and they eventually have feelings for each other. So I'm not going to explain the whole Bridgerton, but the characters that I did like was Simon. He's a hottie. He is hot. I like the way how he was calm and debonair, and he was just one of those men that you're like, oh, he is fine. Well, not fine, but he's handsome, very handsome, and she is very beautiful. She's beautiful. She's got blue eyes, red hair, that white milky skin. So those two eventually become friends, and eventually they do have feelings for each other. So the storyline, there's also a lady named Miss Whistledown. Is that her name? Miss Whistledown, and she's like the CNN of the town, and she has a weekly paper, and everybody looks forward to her paper because she tells secrets of the ton of everybody who lives there. So the whole time during the movie, all these secrets about people are coming out, and even her opinion about people, and she's ruining other people's reputation, and she's bringing out people's secrets to save other people, and stuff. So during the whole movie, they look forward to this newspaper, and during the whole series of Bridgerton, you're wondering, who the hell is writing all this? Whose column? Who is this? So in the end, we find out who it was, and I guessed, she was one of my predictions, like, I think it's this girl. And then, I thought it was like 4 other people too. So at the end, when it revealed who it was, I was like, wow, okay, I did not know. So a lot of things took place during Bridgerton. Like, there's a lot of scenarios where the older brother is in love with an opera singer, and because he's a noble and he has a title and she doesn't, they can't be together. And the other brother falls in love with the seamstress, and there's just a lot of other things, and everybody's trying to get married to such and such's sons, and the mothers are over there like trying to marry off their daughters, because that was the thing back then, to marry off your daughters. And then, so that's pretty much, the gist of it. So I enjoyed it. I really did. I was entertained, and I enjoyed it a lot that I watched the whole 8 episodes of it. So the Bridgerton family, they're pretty much known. They're pretty much known there. And the Desperate family is the Featherleys, I think. Feathertons. Hastings is Simon, the Duke. And he's handsome, and he's got a huge home. And so eventually they do fall in love, and they get married. And Simon has to marry, man, I hope her name is Jane, because I keep saying Jane. Okay, I'm going to call her Jane. He eventually marries her because they were caught in the garden making out. And, back in the day, if you're caught in the garden with a guy, and especially if you're making out, you can ruin your reputation. And not only you, and if you have sisters, you ruin the reputation of your sisters. It's going to be harder for them to find a husband. And that was the deal back then. If you're a daughter, you find a husband. You have a dowry, you find someone who is going to protect you and support you. And that's the way it was back then. Nowadays, yeah, right. You can fend for yourself. And if you find someone, kudos to you. But that's basically what happened. They fall in love, they have their ups and downs. And if you haven't watched it, I do recommend that you watch Bridgerton. It was a good season. I mean, hopefully they have another one. I hear they are, but it's not going to come out till fall. I'm ready to see the rest. And I'm probably going to go back into Goodreads and see if I read those books, because I believe I did. But Bridgerton was good. I enjoyed it. And Simon was my favorite. You know, there were times where he got on my nerves, but he was my favorite. Also, I loved Penelope. She's this young girl who also came out and was, you know, it's her time to look for a husband. But I just liked her because she, you know, she's this fun friend of the Bridgertons, and the Bridgerton's daughter Eloise. And Eloise is, you know, she's one of those girls who is not paying attention to her beauty, but pays attention to her mind. She loves reading books. She smokes cigarettes. She does like the opposite of what young women are supposed to be like back in the day. So I really liked Eloise. And I thought that she was Miss Whistledown. And I think I'm saying her name wrong, but whatever. So Simon was good. I loved him. Penelope, I loved her character. She was always there to kind of like protect her friend. And Eloise had a mind of her own. I liked her. I also liked the Bridgerton mother. She was there to support her children. And she was a good mother. I liked her. I also liked Lady Dansbury. Lady Dansbury was, she's a noble, and she was the aunt, or she was Simon, the Duke of Hastings' mother's best friend. And she kind of took him under her wing because Simon of Hastings had to pretty much grow up on his own. So I know I'm going here and there with my whole vlog about the Bridgerton. So I do recommend, if you haven't watched it, to watch it. There are a lot of steamy scenes, so you're gonna like that. You're gonna be entertained. But one thing for me, I'm so used to watching Korean dramas where at like episode 6 they're barely brushing their hands, you know, touching each other, or they're barely like giving each other the gaze, and you know that each other like each other, and that's like fulfilling. But when you watch Bridgerton in the first episode, oh man, you best believe they doing more than just contact. They're doing more than just touching each other on the shoulder. So get ready for that. I was like, not, when I was watching Bridgerton, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so different from Korea. I've been watching K-dramas for years now, and for the first episode to be like, bam, I was like, okay. Telling my cousin, Mike, pass me the popcorn. Wow. I forgot how watching American TV was like, because I'm so stuck in my world of K-drama, you know, that I'm like, whoa. So, anyways, Bridgerton is a go. If you haven't watched it, go ahead and do so. And hopefully tomorrow, I'll be able to talk about Naruto. So to my 7 subscribers, go ahead and make a comment. Hopefully it's positive. Nothing but positive stuff on my channel. If you have something negative to say, just take it with you. I don't need it. All right. Have a good day. I'm almost to work. Peace.